Uh-oh. Hey, hey. Get myself together here. Listen, in the morning. Hi, sis. You're here early. Okay. Can you hear the music? Oh, let me add. I need to add. Okay, so I want okay, sorry about that. I was in a groove. I wanted to open with the energy that I was feeling and jump on in today. Okay, so you couldn't even hear the music. Well, that doesn't mean that YouTube won't hear it. So I want to. So listen, if you're on Facebook, I was kind of rushing at the last minute, wanted to make sure everybody saw it. I got to play with all the algorithms. Join us on YouTube. I'm going to disconnect from the Facebook algorithm, but I guarantee you it won't be in vain if you join us over on YouTube. Just look for Rebirth with Latanya. Rebirth with Latanya Taylor, Rebirth by Latanya. You should find me, or come into Rebirth Woman and join us live there as well. So um, this is totally impromptu. I won't be up here very long today. I have a lot to share from yesterday, but I want to stay in our series, in our topic, the Feminine Abundance series, and we've been talking about unconscious contracts and agreements, and living by design really is where we're going today. We're going to move us a little bit further, and I just want to share about the beauty of the magic, like the magic of being able to live in your overflow today. Why? Because it's a lived experience, and the more, hey Wendy, the more that I do it, the more evidence that I have and enthusiasm that I have to be able to come and share it with you. And I promise you, Spirit is sending me confirmations left and right. For those of you who don't know, I am Latanya Taylor, affectionately known as the Juicy Spirit Mama. Well, first of all, the Rev Coach. I always got to put that first, God first, right? The Rev Coach, the Juicy Spirit Mama, the Priestess of Purpose, Pleasure, Passion, and Profits. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've never seen me, there's a whole collection. You get to see my growth. While I was living abroad in Costa Rica, while I was doing the Womanhood Wisdom Wednesday on Friday, there's a bunch of freebies that will not be free. It's priceless deposits into your soul as we grow as a community, as women shared live. So subscribe to the channel, feast on the buffet, grow with us, expand and evolve with us, because we are becoming the evolution revolution in our lives, in our legacies, in our families' lives. We're playing something called the Queen's Piece, which is chess, not checkers, and making the moves for our purpose, pleasure, passion, and profits. So that's my spiel, and I want to welcome you to come on over, get on in the chat. I'm not here just to tell you something. I'm here to shift with you. So again, welcome into this space. Listen, I had enough makeup on yesterday, honey, that I'm coming to you just as bare and free as I possibly can. Okay. So I'm still full and overflowing, and I really want to share with you. So let me just say this, because I want to get this out of the way. And, it really is probably not to any of you here, but it is to this Facebook algorithm, this YouTube algorithm. I don't like it. There's certain hoops that I'm just not gonna jump through to be seen, to be heard here. And so I'll try to save some of that to the end. But honey, this this is something else. It's been a morning, right, of sharing. But we're here every Wednesdays at 1 p.m. So I want to share with you a little bit more about the overflow and what flowed through me this morning. And I want you all to join in this conversation if you can. If you can share this out, that would be awesome as well. So let me jump on in to the sharing today. I'm going to take this off Facebook. Facebook, join us on YouTube. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay. So check this out. Yesterday was so freaking amazing. So amazing. It was so amazing because it was organic. It was amazing because the intention was high vibrational. It was amazing. And what I'm talking about yesterday, let me give context. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Let me give some context. See, okay, let me tell you what happened is I went live on Instagram. I don't typically go live on Instagram, especially in the mornings. And everybody gave me feedback that they wanted me to go live more. So, especially this morning. And so Spirit just said to me, just give from your overflow. Just give from your overflow. And so that's what I went in to do, giving from the overflow, because that's what happened in the room yesterday. And when you are in a high vibrational tribe, when you're in the room with peers and alliances, when you're in the room, it fills you up. And this is why this whole conversation about I don't trust women, I don't fool with women, I don't get into women groups. A lot of people who say that are the people who serve women. So it's like canceling out your very calling or your contribution, and really being honest, if that's not your calling, if that's not your contribution, then why are you doing it, right? And so when I went live today, I went live really just to share from the overflow, the beauty and the magic of what happens when women come into a room together with a high vibrational intention. And then Spirit began to channel and drop certain things in me. And I pray that my intention in this moment is to be able to contain it and deliver it in the way that it was channeled through me earlier this morning. And I've been working and trying to catch up from a day of being out of my office all day, a couple of days actually, because there's the preparation and all of that. And so I literally was typing and working right up until the broadcast. So this is a come as you are, no lashes, no makeup, no nothing. I hope you say your girl's still pretty. Yes, I got new hair because it's still the same person, but I'm playing with different things here. And you should play with your archetypes. Let's get into it. So yesterday, to give you context, I was honored with another award called the Phenomenal Woman Award. And it was a luncheon to host that with other women in business. Many of them are phenomenal in their own right, in their own industry as well. And some of us knew each other just by kind of bypassing. But this yesterday was so unique because it was intimate, and it was a way for us to connect in a deeper way, right? And in that connection, it was so beautiful. It was so transparent. And I said organic already. From the moment that we started, to all the way to the end. And the reason why I am linking this together with our discussions in the last couple of weeks about releasing our unconscious contracts and agreements, and also being a bridge over to us living our divine design, which will be a workshop on April 15th. All of the information is described below with links. The reason I'm linking that is because there are so many things that was said, and so many women in the room use so many different formulas. Some folks invested, big numbers in their product, in their coaching. There were testimonies of women hitting rock bottom only to come up and make it and double for your troubles. I hope this will bless somebody else who may feel like you're at your rock bottom, or you're sacrificing a lot for your business, or you've lost something in your life. There was a sister there, and I'm not going to call in names because I don't want to tell their stories for them to tell, and much of it is public. Sister who talked about how she lost a son, and literally coming in contact with the right person who gets you, and the divine design of what they have fits what you are called to do. It can change your life. One of the things that I have been saying to Candace Holyfield, six-figure spot chick, says, I saved her life. I didn't know that I was saving her life at the time. I literally was just doing what I'm called to do, and responding to her call, right? And that's one of the things that she said, but it was so beautiful to hear other people say in so many ways how she had saved their life or sowed into their lives. And so I was in the room with other people who had the same intention for women. So even when we talk about your divine design, everybody doesn't have to have the exact same design as you for there to be a contribution, for there to be value, for there to be a takeaway. But there was some tips that I'm just going to drop really quickly in this space, because I want to give from the overflow. In addition to being a giver, and really there was a room full of givers, not just giving from their product, their sales promotion, their marketing, but just women who have given. And some sisters say, I'm a girl's girl. I want to help somebody so they don't have to struggle the way I did. In the room, there were other people who said, listen, you're not going to grow until you get a coach. You're going to make a certain amount of money. You're going to hit a ceiling until you get a coach and you get into alliance. And literally, there were people who told testimonies of just that deposit of another millionaire took them to six figures or seven figures or multi-millionaire status. There were people there who was burnt out, but their brand doesn't look like it. It looks like they're thriving, and they needed to be in a safe space with other women. I could go on and on, because some of this applies to some of you. And so what Spirit said to me this morning as I came on is, sisters, don't give up on your sisterhoods. Don't give up on your tribes. Do not give up on being in healthy alliances with other women, particularly by mere design of the feminine. Now, I know that we've been talking about there are unique archetypes that have specific contracts and agreements. You were born under an archetype, and we're going to discuss that and dive into that more each week towards the workshop. But let's today talk about just the feminine in terms of the global. The divine feminine has many faces. Somebody say many faces. Some of you have many faces. It doesn't mean that you're two-faced or that you'll turn on somebody. You're designed through the feminine to have many faces. We go through several changes within a 28-day cycle. We go through many changes. Yeah. Talk back to me. We go through a cycle, and some of us even have not been taught how to leverage that particular cycle period, even of the 28 days that we go through. By design, the moon is always changing. And if you look at our cycle, it is designed by the moon. It's always changing and shifting. It goes into to fullness and comes out of fullness, and each one of them are given an assignment, a measurement. If quarter moon, full quarter, half this, almost full, like it's given a measurement, right? Come on now, work with me, talk back to me, share this live. Like and comment on YouTube. In fact, like and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Talk to me in the comments in Facebook. You're there. Say hello when you come into the room, hunty. Say hello to your tribe. And so then, we go through these cycles where our mood may change, and we wear a different face then. When we're ovulating, we have a different face then. And sometimes we're not even conscious of this. We're talking about the global feminine right now. And then so we have our own waning cycles and fullness, right? And fertility moments, moments where we're more potent, moments where our fertility is waning. And then that's just in the 28-day cycle. And then the divine feminine goes through cycles of girlhood, right? To womanhood, to the crone, right? And depending on how you learned about your girlhood, your adolescence phase, your menstrual season, it imprints how you move into the next phase of your womanhood. And then depending on what happened in the phase of your womanhood, it influences how you move into the crone season. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. And welcome to the conversation. Many of you are multitasking. I appreciate you just acknowledging, though. And so there's our cycle. There's the one that we've been taught. Then there's ours. How many of you have heard that even when you come into a room full of, when you've been hanging out with a lot of women, or you grew up with a lot of women, your cycle may change based off of the dominant woman in the room. Oh my God. I didn't even say this morning. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, ancestors. Well, if that's true, what happens when you get into a room full of high vibrational women based off of your vision, goal, and an intention? And so what if you have to invest in order to be there? Because the return on investment is the birth. It is the creativity. We are always giving birth beyond our biology. Even though there are some of us who are living lives where it's childless by choice. You may be childless, but you are still fertile and you are still giving birth. There are some of you who have empty nesters. You've given birth, you've dedicated your life to raising your children, and now it's about you. How many? I've heard you hear so many women say, it's about me now, honey. It's about me now, honey. It's okay too. Right? We're in different seasons. Some of us, some people are just starting, who are in our tribe, and they're watching us. They're watching some of us who are moving into eldership. How are you moving into it? Somebody say it's about me now in the comments. I know that's right. How are you moving? But every season, and I'm only using the three main faces of the feminine, from girlhood to womanhood to crone-ship. But in between, there are still more faces, more seasons. And each season influences the other season. And if you grew up in girlhood and you didn't play on teams, you didn't have a large family, it was just you and maybe whoever was your guardian, your parental authority, you're still influenced by something. Even if you were a girl who was raised by your father, your mother was not there, you had to get information and sources from somewhere. If you were a girl in a house full of women, you automatically, even by osmosis, took in information. In fact, a girl studies her mother unconsciously and is often taught by her father consciously, because the father helps the girl to move out into the world consciously. But the woman, the mother, or whoever is the maternal figure, influences the woman unconsciously and all her relationships with women, and especially herself. Y'all with me? Am I laying this out okay? Talk back to me in the comments. Talk back to me. Or am I laying this out? Any of you have sisters? I told the sisters yesterday, because several women did say it was so good to be in a safe space because they've been hurt by so many women. You ever been hurt by women? A lot of times we have coaches, books. You go to the bookstore and get a whole bunch of information and material on breakup, heartbreak, rebounding, bouncing back, dating, relationships, in the relationships, marriage, being a wife. You could just go on and on and on and on and on, all the way back, right? But very few books talk about how do we heal from the heartbreak of our relationships with women. Very few of us can go find anything in material. And I don't think that that's an accident. Sure, somebody listening could say, oh, I'm going to be the one. Because the truth is, as women, we learn from each other belly to belly. We learn from each other arm locked in arm, symbolically. We learn from each other verbally. We learn from each other through modeling. We learn from each other in storytelling and narratives. We learn from each other through experiential learning. And that's why if you've never been on a team where you can't be on a team and it just be about unless you're playing golf or a solo sport. You can name some of the solo sports. I could be off, but if you're doing soccer, volleyball, if you're in the band, these are archetypes. These are contracts. You cannot come into a team with a contract of I and me and think that your coach, come on now, come on, spirit. You don't think your coach is going to catch it. You can't grow up in a family and just look at the food on your plate and just you have to think about everybody. Does everybody have enough to eat? But if you didn't grow up sharing your toys, your food, sometimes your clothes, if you don't know how to settle conflict right in your own house, or if you were in conflict all the time, if you were a parentified child where that's another archetype. where you are the one who had to take care of your siblings or take care of your parents. If you were that, you may not have gotten it in your primary space. You may have had to learn it when you went to school, when you played on the team, when even in the neighborhoods. And this is how we have what's called gangs, because we are a tribal people. You hear me? Am I laying this out? Am I laying this out? It really isn't me. It's spirit. I didn't plan this like this. So let me go on and yield myself. Let me yield. And so when you are a tribal people, you are going to benefit from leaning on your design, even in the collective. So for the feminine, when you become a business owner and you say, or not even out loud, but even to yourself, I'm gonna do this by myself. Nah, I ain't messing with her. Nah, I'll go to the free stuff, but I ain't spending no $3,000 over there. No, I'm not spending $20,000 over there. Some of you can't even fathom spending 300, much less 3,000 or 30,000 to work with on another level for your brand. Yet you love to go and follow these people and then judge yourself about what they have and what they don't have. But that's why sometimes when you go and you look at people that you say you want to be like, you want to have what they have, you got to look at sometimes your intention. Because if your intention is just fed by envy, greed, or lack, then it also affects your relationship with your money, with your profits, with your assets, because you're not living by design. You live in somebody else's archetype. Because you don't know what they had, what they went through. I was telling the ladies today who were on IG Live with me, if we look at the story of Deborah Lee is starting to tell her story about when she was having an affair with Robert Johnson or whatever. I didn't know anything about him. Most of us didn't. A lot of people who worked at BET did. They may have known. So I'm only mentioning this because it's public, because I don't talk about my clients, their stories. I don't do that. I hold the confidentiality because that's what people expect. Private people with public lives want to have a safe space. And so I'm only mentioning this because she's been talking about it in public. But imagine all of the young girls who grew up saying, I want to be like Deborah Lee. I want to be a mogul. I want to do this. How many of you did that? But you don't know who their alliances were with. You don't know what they did. You don't know what they did to get in the position. Not saying that every woman has to compromise her integrity in order to rise to the top. But the point is about comparing and then beating yourself up or doing anything to try to get a seat at the table or in the room or in proximity to somebody. You really don't know. Even Iyanla has said how the number of people who think or want to be Iyanla Vanzant, and she says, if you want to be Iyanla Vanzant, are you willing to do the work for her to move from being Rhonda to being Iyanla? Are you willing to pray? Are you willing to have the abuse story that she had? Can you sustain the betrayals? Can you sustain that? I'm asking. Or let's flip it. When we grow up in our own primary households, community, and family, and we say, I'm never going to be like auntie, mama, uncle, you fill in their name. I'll never be like them. So you spend your life on never trying to be like such and such. And the law of attraction says what you focus on grows. So what you resist persists. So the very thing that you resist will start to show up. in your world. And oftentimes it'll catch you by surprise because you are so busy focusing on not being like that, you are not able to see how much you are. Ouch, amen. And if that's an ouch, you not by yourself, honey. I have definitely had times as I have gotten older where I have said, I am nothing like, I'll just deal with mama and daddy. The worst of them, the negative of them, I said, oh no, I ain't nothing like that. But the deeper I got into my shadow work, the deeper I looked at the archetypes that I was born under, the contracts of the family, I had to say, well, damn, I see it. I had to say, well, look at that. Now that you see it, what are you going to do with it? And it's nothing, don't count it robbery to be like your mentors or to even move like your mentors. There are people who have watched me on live or watched me and from a distance and criticized me to throw rocks to say, oh, she trying to be like Yama. Well, I've said this before. Do they know that my other mentors was Minister Louis Farrakhan, Reverend Dr. Willie Wilson, Dr. Minister Ava Muhammad, Mother Tynetta Muhammad? Will you see them too? Because they're in here. They spill out sometimes too. Or will they see Dennis, my daddy? Will they see Dennis? Because I see Dennis. I see my daddy. I see my mother. I see ancestors who I can't see that show up in me, through me, and as me. Or I should say, I see ancestors I haven't met. Come on now. I know I got some heavyweights in here that feel exactly what I'm saying. So when we're looking on the outside, you don't know what's going on the inside for anybody and their contracts and agreements, because our Akashic records already have been written. We all have a destiny. And it is so beautiful for the feminine, for a woman who is willing even to heal her feminine wounds, to make a new contract with herself and with women and womanhood, such that she can be filled in, so you can give from the overflow. Your cup can get full. Because sometimes you'll show up in rooms like I did yesterday, not even knowing that your cup needed to be filled. And there were so many women who said, I needed this. And everything we needed was in that room. And the willingness to give. I understand that there are rooms that we go into where people are positioning, people are trying to take and show you their business card. And here, what do you do? Okay, I'm trying to assess what you do so I can see what I can get from you. Here's my card. They don't want any relationship. It's the same thing that we do right here on where when we don't even comment, like, engage or share with somebody's post, but then when it's time for you to sell a product, you in somebody's inbox talking about buy my product. Bad coaching, bad business coaching. This is why you can't use cookie cutter models. And for years I haven't. And for years, I thought that something was wrong with me. And for years, I invested in the coaches who taught the cookie cutter model. And then after I tried to use their model and follow their blueprint to the letter and failed, I would blame me. So that's why they say, if you're going to be a copycat, copy the right cat. Because you'll get to a certain point where you won't need to copy anybody, because the pace is not the same. People can try to copy you, but the pace will give you an error message. That's so funny. I just saw this comment. I'm gonna come back through the comments, but it's so funny you say that's relationship capital, because that's exactly what I said. In fact, what I said was I talked about relational reciprocity yesterday. Relational reciprocity. And the point of me laying out the feminine is because in the surveys, so many of you said you don't know what the soft life is. You don't, or you can only, imagine what the soft life is. And one of the sisters stood up and said, she spoke right into the heart of women. She said, it's okay to be soft right now in a room full of women, because sometimes we show up in a room full of women hard. Ouch. Amen. We show up in a room full of women sometimes hard. And sometimes we can be a little hard on each other. There are times where I look back at how hard I might have been in my coaching and my delivery and realize that wasn't necessary. And you know what it took? It took me to not even just work with my own people sometimes, because the way we discipline, the way we parent sometimes is the hard way. There was one little sister who said, I don't even like showing emotions in front of my mother. And some folks said, well, is that a bad thing? And I was like, absolutely. Because if you can't cry to your mother, you won't cry in front of her. If you can't cry in front of her, you can't cry to her. When you need to go to her, you'll go to somebody else. When your mother is not a safe space, it makes it very difficult for you to feel a safe space in your own feminine embodiment. And yet it's projected onto other women most of the time. And so now we have self-fulfilling prophecies about being able to trust women. There's a new narrative available. You can make a new contract and agreement with even that experience. I'm here to tell you. And oftentimes we are so focused on the pain of what we didn't have, the trauma of what we didn't have, or what was inflicted, that we don't see how the universe abhors a void. In other words, let me say it in plain English: the universe hates a void and will fill it with what you need in some way. But sometimes we cannot even see that the universe is filling it. So even in the moments where I felt like I did not have access to the nurture that I needed, when I did my work in community with a coach in process, I looked and saw, oh my God, I have had so many mothers. And that is the tribal design. We are not supposed to just have one anything. We are born through one, but we are cared for by many. And that is why we see young women who are giving birth who has this my attitude, my baby, my child. The truth is, we come from a tribal identity where when a woman has a baby, it's our baby. And that is why you don't hear women of old talking about being burnt out, because the baby was passed through many arms. She was nurtured, he was nurtured by many breasts. She was rocked, or he was rocked. When the mother could go to sleep at night, she could go do something else. But in this industrious world where we started to work a 9 to 5, our lives begin to change. That's not who we are. The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. Other people raised me too. Oh, Mafadefun Egun, to give thanks to the ancestors. I have to remember, I was raised by a woman. They call her Lil Mama. So even when I went to Head Start, preschool and kindergarten, when my mother had to work, I would go stay with Lil Mama. Whew. Little mama was a safe space. She fed me grits and eggs, and that's why I love grits and eggs now. And sometimes I pour a little coffee in the grits and eggs, but I was always well fed. She would cook those beans. Oh my God. She didn't have much, but the love that she had, it fed my soul. She potty trained me at 9 months old. She didn't have much. In fact, I don't think that little mama could read or write. But she provided a space for me to go learn how to read and write very well. She gave comfort to my mother to know that her child was in a safe space. And I grew up in a community where if somebody would, when we did have to go to work, where on the end of the week, okay, you got 6 children over here. I have 2 children. So here I have extra. I'm going to bring you some bread. I'm going to bring you some lunch meat. Here, you take the lunch meat. Somebody else might get some beers. Oh, girl, I got some beer this weekend. And we come from a tribe. Y'all feeling me today. Let me go on and close. Let me go on and close. I want you to feel this like I feel it. Because we become so mind focused. We don't have any help. And then there's resentment when you don't have any help. We were never designed to raise children alone. Now let's talk about those of us who are moving into our croneship and we have seniors that we have to care for. We were never designed to care for our aging elders alone. That was a community project. And so now you have one person in the family that's carrying all the weight of caring for elders to the point that they get worn down and sick and they're not here anymore. That's not the design. That's not how we're designed. Yes, you said the community raised you. Just like the community raised you, the community prepares you for your return home. But we don't have that. We could, with a conscious choice and decision, because there's been so many violations and mistrust and so many things that is in the fabric, oftentimes of melanated people, but it's not all the time that it's just us. Some of this is by design. Genocide is by design. And it affects our psychology, and it is psychological warfare. So, yes, I'm going to close. By design. By design. I keep hearing by design. Whew. I thank God that I'm yielding to this because I feel so on assignment that it just keeps on blessing me. So yesterday, as I was leaving, the feminine magic is real. You getting your cup full is real. It's worth it to you to give yourself a chance. It's worth it to you to give your sisterhood a chance. It's worth it to you to invest in a coach. It's worth it to you to get support, in other words, and not just keep on trying to read it away and YouTube it away. If that's all you have, okay, fine. But what's the next step? Because there is a next step. And so one of the things that I thank you for Spirit for helping me to remember. Every woman said this, particularly to Candace. She said, this is not about money. There's a certain point when you finally penetrate wealth, where your relationships are not about money. They truly are about relationships. Your money is no good here, because the seed that you planted in good soil returns to you, pressed down, shaken up, and running over. The seed that you plant in potent, rich, fertile soil that is living from their overflow, it returns to you. So many people may have in that room may have started out being a coach, and then they turned a friend, may have started out being a client. We're talking from PR to lawyers to doctors to all kind of specialists, spa professionals, and other types of professionals. May have made planted one seed, but the seed returned over and over again. Now, why am I saying this? Because that's what happened for me. Candace said that I saved her life, but I told her, I said, baby, it's reciprocal. It's reciprocal because you have helped me, and just by being yourself. I have to have the willingness to be coachable, trainable, and teachable, particularly by some of these young women who do things differently than we were taught as Gen X. Some of us weren't taught. We weren't raised. We just grew up. So many of us were not raised. We just grew up. You could apply that beyond your home. You can apply that to your business. You can apply that to your love relationship. You weren't raised on how to select a husband. You weren't raised on how to be a wife, but you became one. You just grew up in it. You didn't see somebody that had a business, but you just grew up in it. I grew up in being a businesswoman. I didn't have a model per se. I knew I was called. I knew I was anointed. I knew ministry, and I know service because I'm built like that. Everybody has a different life path, and that's by design. And some life paths are complements to one another. Some energies are complements. Some archetypes help to pull out something that's inside of someone else. And that's why getting into high vibrational safe spaces is powerful, because yesterday I was so full, I was vibrating. And so when I was getting ready to go home, I put in the GPS, the coordinates or whatever, and it said 1.5 hours, girl. You said it said 1.5 hours. I said, that doesn't feel good. I feel too good to go throw myself in something that's going to give me anxiety. What can I do? So I called my husband. I said, babe, I said, this is the travel time home. What could I do? I didn't want to go eat. I had already ate. I was fed. I was well fed. We're talking about overflow. I was already well fed on the inside. I was well fed from the food as well. I was well fed, so I didn't need to go eat. I wasn't trying to stuff myself with food. I wanted to do something. So I said, babe, I said, it would be so cool if I could get somebody to rub on my feet, because I had already had a massage. I'm also been well loved. So I also had a massage. I didn't really need a massage. So I said, Tag, it would be so nice. And so my husband said, well, then do that then. And then I looked up. Now, this is where Spirit spoke this morning. Check this out. I just looked up. After I said it out of my mouth, what I desire, what I really desire, I just looked up. The scripture in the word says, I look to the hills from whence cometh my help. And it's my help cometh from the law of life, from the Lord. Now, I'm a metaphysician, and we're not talking about up there, out there, over there. We're talking about something that comes from the law of life. I looked up, and the sign said, treat your feet. Girl, go on. I literally said it out of my mouth. In less than 30 seconds, I looked up the sign said, treat your feet. Now this is where Spirit started preaching in me. So all I had to do was change lanes and move over. Because sometimes you can't just look up. Something is required of you, and you might have to get out of the lane that you're in order to get over to get to your destination. Come on now, y'all hear what I'm saying? And what I said I wanted was right there. If I had kept my head down, if I had kept looking all around, and all I had to do was just look up, and it was right there. I was like, babe, you won't believe what just happened. He said, yes, I would believe it. This is a new moon. This is the time. This is the season to speak what you want. I change lanes. I go over parking space right in front of the door. Now, this is not just magic. Some of you all have been made afraid by traditional religion about this thing called magic. We are magic. We are the magic. We are alchemical women. And honey, parking spaces in front of the door is one conversation, but we're talking about when things just flow. When you're in your flow, the universe matches you. Parking space right in front of the door. I go in, I look at the menu to decide which service did I desire, meaning I'm going to have to invest something. I said what I wanted. This is the good part. Sometimes you're saying what you want, but you're not willing to invest it, or you don't have it. So what do you do to play a different game so you can get it, so you can have the lived experience? And so look, I go in, I look at the menu. It's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I want to do this. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. We don't have anybody that can do your feet today. Everybody's full. I said, nobody, nothing, no possibility. No possibility. He said, no, you could do a full body massage. And I said, oh, okay, I'll do that. How many times have you wanted one thing and another thing was available, so you kind of settle for it? It was good. It was good enough. It wasn't exactly what you wanted. It was going to be good. So I was going to do it. I got the video and everything. So I was walking down the hallway videoing and everything because it was so nice. It was so zen. I get into the room. Now, mind you, I'm just leaving the event. My husband had to help me with the zipper in the dress because I couldn't get the zipper up. I needed his manhood strength, not because it was tight. It wasn't tight at all. It was literally the zipper it was brand new. It was rough. It just wouldn't do right. So I said, oh Lord, I am not going to be able to do, I don't know. I don't want to be bothered. Again, I want to do feel good. I want to do flow. This is speak to somebody in pleasure and feminine. And I'm saying, I want to do feel good and flow. I said, you know what? I don't have to do this. I had not paid any money yet. I don't have to. I don't owe anybody anything. I said, I want to feel good. So I said, I'm not going to do this. So I went back, walked down the long hallway. I said, sir, I'm so sorry. I said, I have this dress on. I might not be able to get back in it. But Spirit said to me, just because they don't have an opening doesn't mean somebody else doesn't. I used friendly Google. I put in what I wanted. 9 minutes away was another service available. I called ahead. Not only that, they had an opening. They gave me options. This is the other part. Take this note, get this bullet. Sometimes when you shift and get up off of being fixed, which is an archetype, when you get other options open up. She said, which one do you want, the 5:30 or the 6? I had options. I had a yes, I had options, and it was only 9 minutes away. Now I put in the coordinates in the GPS, and the GPS coordinates weren't exactly right. So one of the things that my archetype has taught me is to slow down. So sometimes some of us are so literal that we just keep moving and get frustrated, because that's what happens when you move fast, when your archetype says for you to slow down. So I slowed down and I studied the intersection. I said, no, that's not going, that ain't going to work. Because, in Buckhead, Atlanta, some streets you can't turn left. You can't turn left during rush hour. And it was rush hour, baby. So I sat there for a moment, out of the way, but in watching the intersection, studying. Something said, look up. Somebody put in the comments, look up. I want you to look up today. I looked up again and over. I looked up and I looked over. And I said, is that an exit? And I began to move towards another exit. And that exit was a total different opening. It was no congestion on that exit that put me right into the flow of traffic on my way to the destination that I needed. And the rest was flow from there. And the experience was zen. And I got more feel good. And when I came home to my husband, because sometimes you all are looking for your mates to be your only source of looking up, looking out, filling you up, filling your cup. And that's not how the feminine works. I came home still full to the overflow. I came home full. The truth is, I was telling him today, I was like, honey, I left full too, because he fills me up. Y'all know that song, he fills me up. So anyway, all of that happened. And for real, check this out. I couldn't have been in the room that I was in had I made my service, my sharing, my contribution just about money. Even though you have people who can pay your price, sometimes you have to know your design and your timing for everything, because sometimes it's beyond the promissory notes. It's beyond the fiat. But when people value you, it's reciprocal. You won't leave drained. You won't feel taken advantage of. Because even in the model of ministry, the model of many service professionals is martyrdom, and the expiration date has already come and gone. That model is dead. To continue to martyr yourself in the name of, I like to help people. No, it's reciprocal, and it's not always the money. Sometimes doors will open for you that you could not have done had you not been willing to show up, have you not been willing to make the first investment. I was telling Candace the other day, we were talking, I said, I'm working with a coach, and one of the things she was showing me was the sides of me that can be introverted, and how it's good for me to be in environments that bring out that butterfly. Do you know that by your design, some of you are sabotaging your own contribution, your own calling, your own communication, and your own convocation? So this is why we are doing Live Your Design, discovering your feminine leadership source codes on April 15th. In the comment section, I have placed the link for a survey if you would want to take advantage of the $50 coupon. If you don't, get the early bird rate. If you say, well, I don't know where my money is right now, there's a to-pay opportunity for you. I've posted the link. I want you to plan to be in the room, because sometimes being in the room is the investment. Sometimes being in the room is the sacred container, the safe space, the investment. It's not even just the money. It's bigger than that. Sometimes it's the one thing that you needed to hear that is the game changer. So what I want to do is go through some of your comments. I'm going to turn my body a little bit. I'm playing catch up. We got, there was elders you could see and know. You beget on your way home. I don't know what beget on your way home. You can rewrite that if you want to. Doing nothing out of pocket. Well, even then, those elders were paid. They were paid. Yeah. We have definitely changed. Oh, I've changed. Come on. I've changed my delivery and you're much more patient and sweet. Okay. Uh-oh. All right. I'm learning on a whole nother level because my mindset has shifted and I look inwards. Good for you. Okay. This hit home for you a little bit. Give thanks. Yes, you have options for selling that rather than just selling for anything. Thank you all for scribing and catching some of this work. Yep. You look up, honey. Yes, I have options. You do have options. You do have options. We have a full comment. Sister says here, in my salon, I consider my clients my tribe. It's where I've learned so much from about raising kids and men. Their experiences that were shared was my lesson too. I was able to refer back to it. I love my clients. They are my teachers. It definitely was by design. Yes. Now there's more. When I'm talking about design, I'm talking about when it's time to grow, when it's time to expand. That is divine design in terms of a spiritual experience, a connective experience. But I am talking about operating in your gifts. I am talking about learning how your design can open up spaces for you, not leave you exhausted, attract what you desire for you to do more. So yes, it's that design and more than that. I thank you, Dr. Pam, for being here and participating. You say I'm talking good. Thank you, Dr. Pam. Yes. Yes. Don't just try to be who you were created to be. Be who you are created to be. You say I walk into the room and you're already on fire. Okay, now this is when we were talking about sister hurt. I'm doing a closing wrap up for those of you who just entered. The comments are helping me to do that. I've been hurt, but I don't take it to heart until I've had enough and I just cut them off. But we have too many people cutting folks off, and there's nothing wrong with cutting people off, but we also need to learn some conflict management skills, some resolution skills. You all saw my Instagram post today. I posted about the woman who said she started making more money than her husband and she divorced her husband and she regret that. It's on my Instagram. It's a black and white post. I just did it today. And some of us cut off way too soon, and we don't know that we're being influenced by other factors. Sometimes it's the wound that's influencing us and the lack of skills. But yes, nor should you stay when you have tried, even in sisterships. So yes, absolutely. That's when we were talking about sisterships and being heartbroken, even in relationships with our sisters and women. You said, I'm listening, I'm multitasking and enjoying your conversation. Alafia to you, Dr. Pam, and so on and so forth. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all so much. Oh, you said you saw the IG video? Okay, you have to send me a DM of what part spoke to you if you don't want to put it in the comments. But it's been my joy to come in and just give from my overflow today and encourage you to give from your overflow. I'm leaning and chilling. You can see I'm in chill mode a little bit. So I'm working in sweats today. Yeah, so I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. I'm just so grateful, so full, and so encouraged, and so grateful to be honored twice in 1 year, lifetime achievement, and I'm just getting started. And now a Phenomenal Woman Award in the room with other phenomenal women. I pray that this is just the beginning of a contribution, even on a global level. You know, Write the vision, make it plain. The scripture says, he who has done a good work in you shall, come on, finish the sentence for me. Come on. Where my Bible people at? So shall complete it. So I can feel, there's some of you that are still here that felt this. And I do want to invite you to get in position. I do. And those of you who have been in the Queen's Piece, I got something for you. I know you've been waiting on something from me, and I'll be getting it to you all today. It's so much more ahead. I love you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Ciao.